Hello. So, guys, good morning. If my voice is clear, i- so you can post it in the chat. So, I hope the live chat is open. So, guys, good morning. I hope my voice is clear. So, why we are going for YouTube Live is so that everyone can able to connect through your system and you can able to replicate this whatever I'm doing here. So even now you are not able to do it. So later you can revise it and you can do it again. Okay. So shall we start? Okay, sir. So today what we are going to see is, so first one we are going to start with JDBC, MySQL connectivity. Then the next part, so we are going for an J2W frameworks. So that's the enterprise model edition. So Java enterprise model edition. Then from there, how we are going for frameworks. So frameworks. So these are things that we are going to see about. So JDW is also a framework, which is a previous version. So now we are having a lot of frameworks in Java. Let's see what are the frameworks and how we are going to utilize it for it. So this is the agenda for today's session. So most of you may have seen these topics in previous. So it is a time to revise it again. So right now I'll be sharing my screen and I'll be doing by step. So I want everyone to follow the same step as it is, so that you can also able to replicate. So right now the things that are required. So I hope everyone will have an IDE. So in IDE, normally we will be using Visual Studio Code, but for this session, I'm not going to use VS Code. I'll be using either NetBeans or Eclipse, or you can use it with IntelliJ. IntelliJ. So whichever IDE that you have, you can use it. So the steps are going to be the same, where all the steps are going to similar. And second one, my system should have a MySQL server. So I hope everyone has installed with it. So we'll be having MySQL server. In that, what are things that we required is the username and password. Username and password to login. And next, the next we will be requiring is a JDBC. Since we are using MySQL server, we require a JDBC MySQL connector. So I'll be telling you how to download it. It is a 5 MB to 5 to 10 MB size. So we can download it and we can use it. So that's not a problem. So if you require, sir, I cannot directly access my MySQL server and I have a problem with working with terminal, then you can go with the workbench. Workbench. Is it clear? Shall we start? Just give me a thumbs up um, or a comment. Okay, so other sessions are joining. Just we can wait for 2 more minutes, so then we can start. So meanwhile, let's try to use this chat window. Maybe the whatever the class that we have connected, you can post it. Anyone from your class, maybe post your class name so that I can check whether the chat is working properly or not. Good. The first message is from cybersecurity. Okay, for JDBC MySQL connector, don't download it. I will let you know how to download it. Then we can download it. So now you don't want to download it. So we have a response from second ECB and second CSEC. Okay, so let's start. So before starting the session, sir, we have seen about DBMS, correct? So the main use of DBMS is to store data so that I can retrieve these data from whichever system I want or whichever location I want, correct? So that is the main reason. So with which we have developed this application, this database. This database has been developed with which language? Can anyone post it in chat box? Good. Second CACA join. Second CACC. Come on, guys. Let's make it more interactive. So second CACD also joined. Okay. So first thing. So database. So initially, database was developed in C language. So this was called as second milestone of C. Second milestone of C. So because the first milestone of C is our Unix operating system, correct? So this is the second milestone of C. So this was developed in Bell Laboratory. So when they were developing this, so actually how they developed this database is, sir, they are using structures. So the structure is mainly, so the structures in C is called as user defined data type, correct? User defined data type. So using this, they have developed this database. So whatever the structure that you are going to create is a table in database. So structures we are developing in C or converted into a table, which is equivalent to create table command. Okay. So the structures which we are developing in C that are going to be called as a table. Now, whenever we are going to store a variable or whenever we are going to create an object for that structure, like student S1, student S2, student S3, and each object are going to be a record or the field of records in a table. So this is how they've developed this. So this is the reason why we are calling this as a structured query language, SQL. Structure query language. To process or to manipulate data inside my database, we are using SQL. We are using a structure query language. So mainly this SQL or mainly we are using for RDBMS. So RDBMS is nothing but relational database, correct? So now we are moving towards NoSQL. So what is it NoSQL? Anyone can post? What is it NoSQL? schemaless. Okay, not only structure. Good. So not only structure. That's what my SQL. Okay, so later now what we are doing is we are not only using my structure to store data. So because we are right now storing my JSON objects, we have a tree based objects. So I hope you know about um, Amazon's Kindle, correct? Amazon Kindle is a platform which is used to store a large amount of books. So that books are actually stored in a tree based structure. That is actually stored in a tree based structure. So where we are not going to use a normal structure based query to store these data, where they are we are using a tree based structure. So for all the React based applications, we are going to use an object based structure, which is actually going to be a text file, which is going to store all these things. Correct. So that is why it is called not only structure or NoSQL database, not only structure. Okay, so the main reason why we are using these things are to store these data and to retrieve these data at anywhere I want, or the application wherever I'm running it can able to give me these data. So this is why we are going to have this SQL or NoSQL database. Correct? Okay, sir. Sir, initially, so what we told was initially this database was developed in C language. Correct? It was developed in C language, but my application, so when database was come into existence, so before database, what are things that we used was we were using only files to store it. Sir, the problems with file is the problems with files are, first, it cannot be shared easily. Correct? It cannot be shared easily. It cannot be shared easily. Second, so for each process or each changes, sir, suppose I'm having these files in a shared resource, sir, I'm going to have this application, I'm going to post my application in a server system, and that server system is going to hold all the files which I'm going to store. If that is the case, now I can able to access the file. But the problem is for each transaction, for each transaction, other applications, that is mean by other systems, other process other process should wait for previous process to complete, previous process to complete. Because you know this, because if I want to access a file and to do any changes in that file, I have to close that file. Only when I closing that file, the changes that we made will be replicated in a file. Then only the other process or the other application is trying to access these data can access the updated value. If it is not closed properly, these data will not be updated in file. So that is one major constraint, we know that. Correct? Do you all agree with this? Do you all agree with this? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Post it. Okay, so that is a problem. Maybe you guys are uh, not ready to chat. Okay, fine, fine. That's not a problem. So let's see. Okay, so this is the problem in using files. So to solve these problems, we are going for database. So when database comes into existence, we have a lot of languages which supports or which can help me to create a web apps. Okay. So we have websites, web apps. So there are a lot of languages came. So with such languages or Python, so we have different frameworks like Flask, Django. So these languages supports a user to create a web app easily. And then we have a PHP based applications, and previously we have Cobol, Photon frameworks, which can also help me to create a frameworks based applications. And then we have C and C++, where we have this the advance of C++, scripting of C++, which is called right now we are using it as a Ruby language that was been there, and we also have this Java J2W frameworks. So all these languages or supports are giving me a web applications which are used to create an application. That application can be used by anyone who is having a network access. So that is the advantage of that. So now with that, what they have to do is they have to share the same resource, and that resource is going to be given by a database. And this database, so database is going to be the common place where I'm going to store and retrieve data. And this database was developed in C language. Even though my application was built in different languages, this database was built on C language. So now, how my application is going to interact with my database? That's a question. Correct? Do you all understand the scenario? My application was built in different languages, but my database was in C. So how can I interact? How can I interact with my database? To solve this problem, to solve this problem, they have introduced a they have introduced a concept called drivers. So if we were used Windows systems, Windows 2000 or Windows NT, so at that time they will be having so just a minute, guys. So drivers. So this driver. So even now also we might have seen it um, uh, in video players or in a photo editors. So we'll be using some drivers to convert my data from raw data to some other format. Correct. So for that we'll be using drivers. So similarly, for an application to interact with my database, they have created driver called ODBC. ODBC, which is nothing but object database connectivity. Object database connectivity. That is what ODBC driver. So um, this was the first level of uh, interaction between an application and a database. Sir, what happens in this, sir? Sir, this ODBC driver is a system based, as a system based driver. If I want to connect my database, the database is going to be installed in my system, then my system should also have this ODBC driver installed in it. If and only if I have this ODBC driver, then only I can able to interact with my database. So this was the first generation. So right now we have changed to different formats, so that is not a problem. But this is the initial days where they started this. Okay. So later, maybe I can show you with this. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, let's try to solve all these problems. So batch processing, until batch processing, we can try to do it. Okay, so first one. So these are the types of JDBC drivers that we have. The first one is ODBC, JDBC ODBC driver. So this ODBC driver is actually installed in my system, which was completely developed on C language, because whatever may be the application that we are going to create, that application is going to render all these data to my ODBC driver. This ODBC driver is going to take that data and convert it to my database format. So that is my ODBC bridge. So that was my initial level of interaction. That's how initial level of interaction has been done with my ODBC bridge. So later what happened is, sir, suppose if my system is not supporting ODBC driver, now I don't have any privilege to access my database. And this ODBC driver was developed by a third party vendor. Sir, why do I want to share my resource to my third party who is not even going to be a part of my application? Why do I want to share my data to him so that he is going to convert into my database? So what Java application developers think was, sir, instead of going for that, why don't we create, sir, the ODBC driver is what is mainly doing is the data which is going to be sent by my application is going to be converted into my database format. That's what my ODBC driver is doing. Sir, I can do it myself. So that's where my native API drivers came in. So native API drivers are, so for each language they have developed their own native API drivers. So maybe I can show you with this example. Okay, so this is the initial JDBC ODBC bridge driver. So this is an example, since we are learning in Java DBMS. So now we are taking the JDBC example. So the application which is going to be built is going to be used on Java application, and this Java application is going to give all these data to this ODBC driver. So this ODBC driver is the one who's going to convert all my data to the respective format. So this database can be of the vendors is in the sense, it may be of Microsoft MS Access, it may be of MySQL, it may be of Oracle, it may be of MS Access, or whichever vendor is going to give it. So whatever the database it may be, we are going to convert the data using this ODBC driver. So he is the one who's going to take all the data from my application and is going to convert it, and he is going to store it to my database. So this was the first level of JDBC ODBC connectivity. So now this part has been replaced with my native API. Sir, instead of going to give it to my ODBC driver, which is actually going to be third party vendor, correct? It is going to be developed by third party vendor. Instead of going to give my data to that part, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own database driver. So what happened is, I'll be having, sir, if I'm going to interacting with my SQL or MS SQL or my Oracle, what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a vendor, or I'll be creating a driver more specific to that system, to that database, so that I can able to easily communicate with my system. So instead of sharing my data to a ODBC driver, that driver will be developed by the own native language. If it is going to be Java, the Java will be developing this native driver. Or if it is going to be Python, the Python will be developing this native driver. Or it is going to be PHP, they'll be developing this native API driver. So this is what happened in the later versions. So second part have done this part. Sir, now, okay, sir, I'm not going to share my data to a third party vendors. But the problem is, sir, suppose if my application want to interact with 2 to 3 databases, how can I do it? Sir, my user credentials are in MS Access. My datas are in MySQL, and all my transactions are in Oracle. We are going to have three different. We are in my application. We are going to connect to a three different databases. So let's take an example like authentication. So for right now, in every application we have our OAuth privilege, correct? So log into Gmail login, through Microsoft login, through GitHub login, through LinkedIn. So that is called O authentication. That is, these data are going to be stored in Google server. Now we are going to connect with them and we are going to retrieve data from Google server. Correct? For each application, we are going to interact with different databases. Correct? If I'm going to have this type of native API drivers, now I have to develop native API drivers for all the types of databases. Correct? So that was the second problem. That was the second problem. So to overcome that problem, we so the application developers come into a third type of solution, which is called network protocol driver. So network protocol driver is nothing but, sir, you may have an application in whatever language that you want. You just give me the, so what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a server which is going to be a middleware, or it is going to be a server. So this server is the one who's going to interact with my database, and this server will have all the drivers which are required to connect with all the databases. It may be a Oracle, it may be MySQL, it may be a MS Access, or whatever types of database that you want to connect. I'll be having all the links with me. So if you want to connect with any database, you just give me the privilege. I'll be connecting it, and I'll be giving you data. So this was my network protocol driver. So now I can able to communicate with any database, and I can able to communicate with anyone I want. So that is a that problem has been solved. But the problem comes when the server goes offline. Correct? If my server is off, now I cannot able to communicate with any databases. Is that true or false? Yes. If my server goes offline, I cannot able to interact with any databases. So that is a problem. Correct? So to overcome this, now all the vendors has come with the third type of driver, that is called thin layer, thin driver. So thin driver in the sense, sir, I'm not going to have it in a separate server, sir. If I'm going to run my application, I'm going to develop this, sir. I'll be having, sir, every vendor that is going to be all the types of database is going to have a few steps, which is going to make a connection, to execute a statement, and to execute an update, and to put a data. So for that, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding these into my my native library. So now with this library, you can develop your own application, you can develop your own driver. That is, sir, right now I'm going to use my MySQL server, sir. For this MySQL server, the developer are going to be from MySQL. The MySQL database developers are the one who's going to develop this driver software. So they will be creating this driver, which is going to tell me how a Java application is going to interact with my database. So this is what my thin driver, and this thin driver was implemented based on the package which was available in my language. So is it clear? So this is a thin driver. So this thin driver is the latest part that we are right now using. So the main part of this thin driver is, sir, this thin driver will have all the packages which are already loaded in my Java. So is, as we are going to use my Java, I'll be telling mostly with Java. So for PHP also, they'll be having the same set of versions, and for Python, and for Ruby, and for Grails, for all the languages, they have this thin driver concept. So what they will be doing is they will have a framework like similar to my collection framework. So how the collection framework have all the interfaces. Similarly, for Java SQL, we have a package called java.sql. So this java.sql package will have all the interfaces which are required for any Java application to connect to any database. So now what this database developers is going to do is they'll be taking this Java SQL package, and they will implement all the classes which are required for any Java application to connect it to my database. So this thin driver is going to be developed by the database vendors. Is it clear? So whatever the database I'm going to connect, I have to just download this driver and I have to add it to my project. That's fine. And all these codes are already available in my Java JDK. So we don't want to recreate anything, just the driver code which will be developed by the database vendors. So now we have to download it and we have to add it to my application. So my application can directly interact with my database. They don't want to depend on any other system or any other server, or they have don't want to go for any network protocols. They don't want to do that. Just if we have this driver package with us, we can add it to my application. That application will incorporate this as its own package, its own library. Now this have the privilege to access to any database to it. Is it clear? Just give me a thumbs up. If you are clear with this, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, sir. Super. Good. So these are the four types of drivers, and as part of your exams, so this is one of the 8 mark question that you may expect. The JDBC types of drivers. So first one is going to be JDBC ODBC driver. Second one is native API drivers, where Java developers will be creating this driver for all the databases. And third one is a network protocol driver, where in a server system we'll be adding all these drivers to it, so that they'll be connecting through my databases. And last one is thin driver, so which in which the driver are going to be developed by the database vendors. So we can just add the package to my application, so which will act as my library. So that is what we are going to do right now. So this thin driver is the one which are going to use right now. So that was a complete Java code. So since we are using Java application, that will be this thin driver was completely a Java code. If it is going to be a Python, now for Python we'll be having a thin driver for it. Now for if you are going to PHP, then PHP will have a thin driver software for it. But this is the ODBC drivers connectivity. The types of drivers are: first one is ODBC, second one is native, and third one is network, and fourth one is thin driver. So this is the four types of uh, JDBC drivers that we have. Okay, so let's start with an application. Okay, to start our application, okay, just a minute, I'll be sharing my screen. So first thing, what I recommend you to do is open your workbench. Open your workbench, or you can connect to your MySQL server with your um, terminal or your command prompt. So in your MySQL workbench, what you have to do is you have to connect to a local instance. So we have a server. So MySQL Workbench is an application which is used to easily interact with my database server. So my server is running in my own system, so which is my MySQL server. So right now I have a different connection. So right now I have a connections between my BuildBuddy server and also my local instance. So if I want to connect with the BuildBuddy server, I can directly go with my connections, so that I can easily interact and I can communicate with my BuildBuddy system. So similarly, just a minute. Okay, sorry for the delay. Okay, sir. So now if I want to connect to my system, I want certain limits. So for example, right now where the server is located, so this is located at local instance at the part of 3306. So this is the port number I'm using. Similarly, if I want to connect with my BillBuddy system, so for BillBuddy system I have a certain IP. With that I have a port number to connecting to it. And not only the URL is required, but also I also need a user to log into it and to have a um, whatever the transaction I'm going to do, that is going to be done by a user. So if I want to connect to a database, I should need these things. Yes. So with my local instance, I'm going to connect it. So whenever I'm going to connect it, it is going to ask me for a password. So that's going to be my own password, so that with that I can able to log into my own system. Is it clear? I hope everyone is having these things with you. So first one, the URL where this database is located and with which port number I'm going to connect it. And second one, with which username I'm going to connect. And if I'm having my username, that username will have a password to it. Correct? So these are the three things that I'll be requiring. So I hope everyone is having that. So now in our database, what we are going to do is, okay. Okay, initially, right now, I am having a software or I'm having a database or schema called ME, Keystone, Library DB, Status, System, User Login Temp. So these are the database that I'm having. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a student database. So I'm going to create a student database. So for that, what I'm going to use is, so create database. So I'm going to give this as a student details. So like that, I'm going to create a database. So once I'm able to execute this query, yes. So database. So for to executing it, I can either execute using this keyword, or I can also use my shortcut as Control Enter. So Control Enter will also execute the current statement where the cursor is located. So once it is done, so you can just refresh the schema. You can see a student details database or a schema has been created, but right now this library db is right now in usage. So first I have to change my database from library db to student details. So for that I'll be using the command called use student details. So now after that execute that. So just control enter. Okay, maybe I have misspelled this name. Okay, just control enter. Now the student database has been selected. So right now we don't have any tables in it. So as everyone is done with it, if you're done, just give me a +1. If you're done with this, just give me a +1. Created a database and selected the database. Good. Others. So if we do these things parallelly, then that will be easy for you to rectify these errors. So if you are skipping this, then it will be a problem for you to, you have to rewatch it again and you have to do these things again. So please try to do it with me so that it will be easy for you too. Okay. So now the database is done. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a table. So you are going to give me instruction to do it. So create table followed by table name. So I'm going to create a table name as student. So for the student, what are things we are going to do? So we are going to have ID, IDS int, and then name as varchar of. So I'm going to give it as 250. Varchar of 50 is fine. So varchar of 250, I'm going to give it. So then if I want another fields, I can add it. So create a table student with these parameters. So right now I'm not going to give it as a not null or primary key. These things I'm not going to add it. Just I'm going to create an empty table and I'm just going to add a data to the table and I'm going to retrieve a table. So that's it. So name and then email. So email varchar of 250. So now with this, I'm closing it and I'm going to execute it. So once I'm executing it, so just I have created a table. So which the name of the table is going to be student, and this table having three parameters. One is going to be ID, is a type of an integer, and second one is a name, is a type of varchar, and third one is an email, is a type of varchar. So on the varchar limit, I have kept it as 250 characters. So once it is done, you can refresh this left side schema part. You can see a table has been created here. So inside my student database, inside my student details, you can see a table as student. So now this table has all the columns which we have created, ID, name, and email. So now we can insert values into it. So correct. So are we done creating table? Yes. If you create a table, give it +2. If you have created a table, give me +2. Okay, sorry for the delay. Okay, let's don't wait for comments. Okay, fine. So now once it is done, we are going to insert the value. So we are going to have insert command. So insert into students values. So right now, what are the values I'm going to insert? It. So first one is going to be ID, and second one is going to be name, and third one is going to be email. So first one is going to be ID and name, that's going to be Arun, and third one arun@ta.in. So this is the mail ID, I'm going to use it. So maybe students, I have given a name as students. So now my student table will have all these. So once it is done, now my student table will have all my records. So select row. Now I can able to see that student Arun has been inserted to it. Correct? Okay. So similarly, if I want to add more data, I can add it. So just for our reference, we are just going to add these details. So here I'm going to add it as 2 and name as Babu. So second data inserted, third data. So just I'm adding 3 data to my database so that just I'm having my database setup ready. So if I want to view all these data, just select star from student. So this will list all the data that are present. Okay, for Dinesh I have given the same ID. That's fine because we are not given this ID as a unique. So right now we have all the 4 data that are inserted in my database. So is it done? So if you are done, just give me +4. Done. Good. Okay, sir. If we have done it, now we can go for our Java application. So what we are going to do is we are going to use any one IDE. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my NetBeans. So if you are comfortable, see for this application development, I recommend you to use either an Eclipse or NetBeans or IntelliJ. Don't go for Visual Studio Code, where this project setup may be different from the normal setup. So there also it will work fine, but initially you can just go with any one of this IDE. Okay, so right now I'm using my NetBeans IDE. So most of the steps are going to be common in all the IDEs. So even in Visual Studio Code, in IntelliJ, or in NetBeans or in Eclipse, so the setup process is going to be the same. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is, okay, it will be just stop sharing and I'll be sharing my NetBeans window. Share NetBeans. Okay. Okay, sir. So this is my NetBeans, Apache NetBeans. So Apache is a part of Tomcat. So Tomcat is a part of Oracle. So this is the official IDE which was given by the Oracle. Now Oracle is using this. Oracle is the owner of Java, correct? He has acquired it. So okay, fine. So now we can create a project. So for that, I'm using my create new project. So either go with file, new project, either file, new project, or you have a shortcut, new project icon. So once you selected this, a pop-up window will be open like this. So there, okay, sorry, my pop-up window is not visible to you. Just a second. I'll be just stop sharing and I'll be resharing it again. Okay. Okay. So I hope it is visible now. Okay, sir. Sir, this is the frameworks that we have. So first one is Java with Maven, Java with Gradle, and Java with Ant. So Ant is a pre-built, or this is going to be a older version of framework. So where we don't have any specific framework, whatever things that we want, we can plug in and we can do it. So that's what my Ant application will do. So Ant will never have a standard form to do it. Correct. So later that to add these dependencies, we have this Maven framework where this Maven has a separate framework. So in Maven, we'll be having a file called pom.xml, which will help me to add all the plugins which are required. So in Ant, what we have to, okay, first we can start with Ant, then we can go with Maven application, so that how we can do the same process in both these things. Correct? So okay, first for Java with Ant, so I'm going to select this Java with Ant. Then what I'm going to do is I'm having a different set of available projects. In that, I'm going to select Java application, Java with Ant framework. That's what I am going to create. So Java with Ant. In that, I'm going to create Java application. Now click on next. This next window will need this uh, project details. Correct. So where I'm going to store this project. So by default, NetBeans will have its own location where to store this application. So now I'm going to give this project name. So I'm going to give this as a JDBC JDBC example 1. JDBC example 1. And I hope you can see this. It will automatically create a main class. So once you enter the name, now a equivalent project folder will be created. The project location will tell us where this project is going to be located. So now it is in my system, it is in home location, in my username, in NetBeans project folder. This location, this project will be created. Now next to this project location, you can see this project folder where it tells in what name the project folder has been created. Mostly it will be in the name of my project, JDBC example 1. Now, below that, you'll be having two checkboxes. One is use dedicated folder for storing libraries. Sir, this later I can explain. So, when you are going to create an enterprise Java application, now lot of the users is going to access my application and a lot of the users are going to develop my application. Now, if I'm going to use a different libraries for adding microservices, now at that time they'll be using this shared library source. So now we don't want it, we don't want to check that. Second, we'll be having create a main class. Sir, by default, my application builder, that is Ant application builder, will automatically create a main class for me. Sir, right now I don't want that, so I'm unchecking that. Just uncheck this, don't create it, just uncheck this and then click on finish. So once you click on finish, once you click on finish, now you might have see this, a project has been built, a project structure has been built, which has two folders. One is a source package where all the Java codes that we are going to create will be inside this source package. And second one is libraries. So what are the libraries are required for my application to run? For this JDBC example application to run, that libraries will be added inside my libraries. So by default, since it is going to be a Java application, in my system I'm using my JDK 19. So JDK 19 library is automatically added. So whenever I'm going to convert this application into a jar file, so all these libraries will be added to it. So I don't want to do anything. Everything will be taken care by my Ant builder. My Ant builder will automatically create everything and he will do all these things. I don't want to add a separate library package and add these folders and I have to convert it to a jar file. That is not needed. It will be done by my Ant builder. Okay, sir. Now, my Java setup is done. Correct? My SQL is also done. My Java setup is done. Now, what we are going to do is, I want my application, that is going to be my Java application, to communicate with my MySQL server, correct? For that, I need a driver, correct? That driver, I have to download it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to download. So what I'm going to download? I'm going to download a JDBC driver, which is used to connect to my MySQL server, correct? So for that, JDBC JDBC driver for MySQL, correct? JDBC driver for MySQL download. Just click on it. So I hope I previously told this. This thin drivers are developed by the database developers, not by the Java developers. So Java developers have a framework. They have a framework called java.sql, which is already available in my library. So I hope you can see this. You will be having Java base. Inside it, you will be having Java SQL. Where is it? Okay, I'm missing it. Okay, sorry, I am missing something. But I don't know. But this Java SQL package is already will be in my system. I don't know. Maybe it will be in a different name. Maybe I have missed it. Okay, I don't know the correct package name, so that's why I was not able to take it. But all these pre-built, that is a normal communication. That's a normal interface which was developed by Java developers will be there. Now, the equivalent classes. It's like an interface. The interface there, like similar to my collection interface, all the interfaces will be developed by Java developers. Now, if I'm going to use my MySQL connector, that will be developed by MySQL developers. So I hope you can see this MySQL download connector. So just click on it. Just click on it. It will redirect you to a page where it was developed by MySQL team. So here it is. It will ask you to download for a operating system. So right now we don't want to depend on any platform. So just click on platform independent. Platform independent. Platform independent. So we don't want to depend on any platform. Just click on platform independent. So now it will give you two options. Either you can download it as a tar file or a zip file. So we can download it as a zip file. So which is going to be 5.1 MB size. Just download this. So it will ask you to sign up. No, I don't want to sign up. Just click on no thanks, just start my download. So once I click on it, it will ask me where you are going to store it. So I'm just going to store it in not semester Java. Okay, so here I can add a driver folder. Inside that folder, I can save this. Just make sure you're storing this driver in a place where you can access it easily. Is it clear? So I'm just repeating the steps again. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing, right now my application is built on Java and the database is in MySQL. So I want to connection between JDBC and MySQL connector download. So that's what I'm going to give. So if suppose I'm using an Oracle DB now, instead of MySQL, I'll be giving it as an Oracle download. Now that is going to be given by the Oracle developers. Sir, no, sir, it is going to be in MS SQL. So now that is going to be given by MS SQL team. So for all these things, for all the databases, that driver software will be developed by the vendor who have developed the database. Okay, so now MySQL. We are using JDBC MySQL download. So once it is done, click on that JDBC MySQL download. Now it will give the MySQL connector. Just click on it. So it will ask us to select which operating system I'm going to use. Just select platform independent. We are not going to depend on any platforms. We are just going to add this driver inside my application. Just click on this platform independent and just download the zip folder. Download my zip folder and store it in a proper location. So once it is done, just go for the downloaded folder. So in my case, I have used my system on semester in Java drivers. So this is where I have downloaded it. Okay. So just click on it and extract it. Extract here. So you'll be having a MySQL folder, MySQL connector J 9.4.0. So is everyone done? If everyone is done, then give me a +5. +5. So done. Good, good, good. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen again. Okay, sir. So once you downloaded it, you can just go for your folder. You'll be having all the details about this. So in that, you'll be having this MySQL connector jar file. You'll be having this. So this SRC folder will also have the all the classes, all the implementations, all these things that will be there. You can just go and just view it. It will be there. This is just a documentations. All the things will be there. So now in that folder, you'll be having this MySQL connector dot jar. So this is the jar file that we are going to add it to my library, into my application. So just listen this, it's very important. So now go for your application. Go for your application. What we are going to do is we are just going to add that jar file to my libraries. Just you can just click on this library folder, right click it, add jar folder, add jar slash folder. Correct? So I'm just repeating this. Select this libraries, right click it, add jar folder. So now I can select where I have located this. So in my domain, I have this documentation, documents. Inside my documents, I have my SEC folder. Inside it, 25, 26, odd semester, Java drivers. So inside my driver, I have this folder MySQL connector. Inside it, I'll be having this MySQL connector jar file. Just select the jar file. Select the jar and just click on open. So I'm just going to repeat it again. So first, in my library, right click, add a jar folder. Now go for the location where we have stored it. Where we have stored it. In my system, I have stored it in my documents. In my documents in SEC in 2025-26 odd semester Java driver. Inside the driver, I'll be having a folder called MySQL connector. So in that, I'll be having this jar. Just double click it. You'll be going inside the folder. Select that MySQL connector. So now open it. Now once you click on open, you can see this in library. We have added all my MySQL connector packages. So all these are added here. So this will have all the classes and interfaces, all these things will be there. So all these things are implemented by MySQL team. So it is not done by Java core team. It was done by MySQL team. They have all these things are implemented, which is ready for our usage. Correct. So once it is done, is it done? Have you all added it? This is very important step. Without this, my application cannot interact with my MySQL server. Yes. Okay, sir. So after adding this, what we are going to do is we are just going to create a new class. So inside my source package, select on source. Inside this, I'll be having a default package, or you can just click on my source package. Just right click, new class file, Java class file. In Java class file, I'm just going to give this class name as main. So just I'm going to check whether I'm able to connect my database or not. Just click on finish. So this will create my Java class. So I'll be increasing the font size. Okay. Okay, I hope this is visible. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm just going to have take void main string args. So this is going to have my main function or my main method. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a connection. So is it done? Up to this, is everyone is done? Okay, just let me finish the steps, then we can again continue this. Okay, first what we are going to do is just a minute. Okay, sorry. Okay, fine. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a connection. So similarly, how so maybe we have seen about this IO packages. So how this IO object can exist or cannot exist. In the same way, this connection can be established or cannot be established. So there are two things that will happen. Okay, so maybe just we can go with this. I'll be just completing this so that it will be easy for you. Okay. So what are the steps are there to connect a database? So this is the second 8-mark question. The steps to connect a application with a MySQL driver. So MySQL database. So these are the 5 steps. So right now before Java 1.9, we were using this 5 steps. First one is registering the class. The class is right now we have downloaded that MySQL JDBC connector and we have added to my library. Correct. Now we have to register this class to my application so that my class can understand. So there is a class called JDBC connector which is there, which is used to connect a database with my application. So that is the first step, registering the driver class. That's the first step. Second step is creating a connection. Once the driver class has been registered, now based on the driver class, what we are going to do is we are going to create a connection. So for that, we'll be using this create connection. And based on that connection, what we are going to do is we are going to create a statement, because if I want to execute any statement, so the statement should be executed on a database. If I want to connect to a database, there should be a connection between my application and the database. That connection is going to be given by my connection class. So the statement, if I want to create it, now that statement is to be created against a connection. Now, once the statement is created, now we are going to execute a statement. Once the statement is executed, I have to close my connection. Is it clear? Similarly, in a file, we'll be opening a file. Now we'll be adding my context to my file. Now I'll be closing my file. The same way here we are going to create a connection. So we are going to create a connection. Based on that connection, we are going to create a statement. Now for this statement, we are going to execute my query. Once the query has been executed, now I'll be closing my connection. So these are the 5 steps we have used to connect a Java application to a MySQL database. So now, if suppose, sir, after Java 1.9, what they did is, sir, why do I want to register these classes? Because Java itself is having all these packages. It's already having this all these MySQL connector, sorry, the interfaces. It already has all these interfaces. This interface is actually shared to the vendors, so they are going to develop it. So why do I want to register these classes? It is because it is already available in my JDK. So I don't want to do it. So this registering a driver class is now not needed. After Java 1.9 version, registering a driver class is not needed. Just we can create my connection and create a statement and we can execute a query. So that's fine. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create my statement. So first one, create a connection. So if I want to create a connection, so creating a connection, I need certain things, correct? The first one is to which database I'm going to connect. So for that, I need a URL. So for that, there is going to be URL. So this URL is going to tell me where my database is located. So right now, my database is student details, correct? Student details is my database. So that is the database I'm using. So student details, STUDE. Sorry, I have misspelled it. Just I'm copying this name. So this is the database I'm going to use, correct? And this database is located in my system, correct? It is located in my system. And how can I connect to my system? So that is going to be a local host. That is my own system, and in my system the port number which I'm using is 3306, which is the default port number for all the MySQL servers. This is what the location, the local host colon 3306 followed by the database name. Okay, sir, but I know that this is a MySQL server. Does my Java application knows this is a MySQL server? No, it doesn't know it. So this is going to be a MySQL server. So how I'm going to connect this MySQL server? Using my JDBC. So first thing is my JDBC. I'm going to use my JDBC connection. In that JDBC connection, I'm going to connect to my MySQL server, and this MySQL server is going to connect to my student details database. And this student detail database is located in my localhost at the port number 3306. So this is the complete URL to connect to my database. So I'm repeating this again. So the URL to connect to my database is, so first I'm going to use my JDBC connection. Second, I'm going to using this JDBC connection, I'm going to connect to a MySQL server. So JDBC colon MySQL colon. So this MySQL server is located at localhost colon 3306. So suppose if my database server is located in some other URL. So for example, you might have seen this BillBuddy server, correct? So where the URL is going to be 121.169.25.45. If this is the URL, then I can give the public IP number. So public IP number where the system is located, correct? That is where the IP I'll be giving. So right now that server is inside my system, so I'm going to give it as a local host. So localhost, to connect that, I'll be using this port number as 3306. So second, so once I have created my connection, if I want to log into this connection, I need a username and password, correct? So that is going to be string username. So this username is going to be, for my system, it is going to be root, and string password. This password is going to be root at 123. So I have my URL, I have my username, I have my password. So these are the three things that are required to connect for me. So in Workbench, we have seen that. In Workbench, that's the first step that we did. So first, which location I'm going to connect, with which username I'm going to connect, and for that username, what is the credential to log in. So these are the three things that are required for anyone to connect to my database. So right now I have added these three things in my application. Okay, sir. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create my connection. So similar to my files or IO packages, this connection packages will also throw an exception. So whenever I'm going to create a connection, I should handle a proper exception. So for that, I'm going to use try catch block. So try catch of exception E, so which is going to print all my exceptions. So print stack trace. So this is just to print my all the exceptions. This print stack trace is nothing but just to print my exceptions which was thrown by this application. The first one is going to be connection. So we are going to connection. Sir, where is this connection is located? This connection is given by my MySQL. So just we are going to create a connection that is from okay. Okay, and so just import java.sql.connection. So whichever you want, you can connect it. But here I'm going to use my connection. This SQL java.sql will have all the interfaces which are required to connect any application with my database. So right now I'm connecting with my MySQL connection. So this connection is going to be given by my driver, correct? So for that, I'll be using my driver manager. Driver manager is the class which is going to give me a connection. So for that, I have a method called get connection. So I have a method called get connection, which has three different types of things. One is going to be with the URL, with the username and password. So URL, username, and password is the one which we are going to use. So because we have already know what is the URL, what is the username, and what is the password. So just I'm going to pass this as my parameters to this get connection method. So this one is going to be URL, second username. So and third one is going to be the password. So once it is done, now this driver manager will create a connection and give it to me. So now I'm just printing whether I'm able to connect it or not. So that's it. Just I'm going to create my connection and I'm going to check whether I'm able to create. So if the given parameters and everything is correct, now it will throw an output like this. A connection has been established like this. It will throw so a connection which was at this location. An object will be created for this connection. So I want everyone to do until this and just give me a +6 +6 in chat box and you can go for a break. With this, create your connection. Then we can start to create a statement and execute it. So with this, I'm stopping. You can go for a break and we can resume after a break. Okay, shall we start? Guys, are you all back? Okay, so if you are back, okay, sir. So just I'm just going to revise these steps again. So we are resuming. So first, creating a connection. So the steps to connect a database driver is going to be, so until others are joining, just we are going to revise these steps. We are just going to revise this. Okay. So first one is registering a driver class. Second one is creating a connection. Third one is creating a statement. And fourth one is executing query. And fifth is closing connection. So these steps are used so till Java 1.8. So after 1.9, the registering a driver class is not required. Okay. So all these connection statements are all inside my package called java.sql. So java.sql is the package which have all these classes. So the first step was creating my connection. So what I'm doing is to create a connection, we need certain requirements. So first one is going to be the URL, second one is username, and third one is password. The URL. So URL is mainly to identify the database where I'm going to store. So first one, the database name. This database is located in the URL. So that is going to be the IP of the system. So right now I'm using my own system, so I'm giving it as a local host. If my IP or my database is located in any other network system or with my friend system, so just I can give the IP of that system with the port number to connect to the database. So this is the location of my database. This is the location of my database. And what type of database I'm going to use? I'm going to use MySQL database. And how I'm going to connect to my database? Using my JDBC connectivity. So JDBC colon MySQL colon the location slash my database name. So this is what my complete URL is. So second, to connect to this database, we need a user credential. That is one, my username as root. So root is a user credential to require to log into this database. And third one is a password to log in. So with these credentials, we are going to create a connection. So in Java package, we have a class called driver manager. So this driver manager is the class who's the one who's going to create my connection. So this driver manager class have a get connection method which is going to create a connection. For this get connection, there are three types of parameterized methods are there. One is going to be URL with the username and with the URL with the username, and third one is URL with username and password. So right now I'm using this URL with the username and password because we know all these things, we know it. So when you are going for an industry, so few industries will not allow you to have this username and password because these are credential, um, these are more secure data. This will not be shared to all the persons. Just the database name and the location will be shared to you. And to share this also, um, they'll be using few credentials that is called a resource bundle. There is a package called resource bundle which is used to share these confidential resources with the users. So later I can see this, later we can see that. Okay, fine. The first step is this is what we are this is how we are going to create a connection. So once we have created a connection, we are going to create a statement. So against this, so using this connection, we are going to create a statement. So for that, Okay. Okay. So next one is going to be statement. So this statement is going to be an interface which is going to be present inside my java.sql package. So this statement, for this I'm going to create a statement. So this statement will always be created against the connection. So we can create this statement only with the help of this connection. So statement connection dot create statement. So this will help me to create a statement. So now if I want to execute any queries, if I want to execute any query, that's going to be select query, or it's going to be an insert query, or update query, or delete query, that query can be executed with this statement object. So this statement is the one which is going to help me to execute any update. So execute a query, or execute a statement, or execute any update. So this is what we are going to do now. So first, now the first, what are the things that I can do is, first I can just retrieve all these data and I'm going to see it. So for that, what I'm going to use my query. So for that, I'm just going to create a string query. So this query is going to be select query. So select star from student. So the table name, that's going to be student. So this is the query that we have used in a workbench. So to store or to see all these data, select star from student. This is the query that we are going to use it to execute. So the same query I'm going to give it here. So select star from student. So now, so this query, those select star from student is going to give me n number of student records, correct? It is going to give me, so whenever I'm going to execute this, it is going to list out all the users that are present inside my student table, correct? So all the students that are present inside my student table will be listed here. So now to collect these queries, I need a collection framework to store this, correct? To collect these datas, I need a collections to store all these things. So for that, we have a state result set. We have a set called result set, which is more specific to collect data from the SQL query which is going to execute it. So now what we are going to do is we are going to execute this query. Okay. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to use my statement dot. So we have lot of execute queries. So execute, so we have a method called execute, which can execute both execute query or an execute update. So execute query is the one which is going to just execute it, which will never going to do any changes to my database. So execute is a common method which can be used to execute query or execute update. Mhm. நான் வரணுமாப்பா? Okay. So this, sorry, this execute is a common method which is used to implement both my execute update or my execute query. Both can be done with a single method. But the problem is, if I want to execute a query, now this execute query is going to return me few data. That is going to be user data. That is going to be select star from specific data, or select star with the conditions. Like this is going to give me result sets. Correct. For that, I need another method to get this data. And execute update is a method which is used to do all the changes. That is going to be insert, that is going to be delete, that is going to be update. All these things are going to be done by execute update. So we have these three methods. One is going to be execute query, and execute update. Execute is a common method to execute both query and update, whereas execute query will just execute it and to retrieve the data from my database. That is what execute query. Whereas execute update is to do all the changes. It's similar kind of doing all my DDL operations. Insert, delete, update, all these data are going to be done by execute update. So right now what we are doing is we are just going to execute a query. So what query I'm going to execute? So the query is going to be query. The string name is going to be query. So this query is going to retrieve me lot of data that is going to be generated in my table, correct? So to store that, we have this result set. So result set rs equal to whatever this query has been executed, whatever the results that has been generated by this query will be stored in this result set. So rs is an object which is a set type, which is going to have all the objects that are generated by this query. The query is select star from student, will be stored in this result set. What we are going to do is we are just going to iterate this. So while rs, so similarly, so to check whether there is a next object is there or not, because we don't we don't know how many data has been generated by this, because select star from student table name will generate 5 data, may generate 10 data, may generate 100 data, may generate 1000 data. So we don't have a certain steps. So for that we are going to use this predefined method, which is called next, to check whether a next data is available or not. If it is there, now I am going to get the data. Is it clear? So here what I'm doing is, so system.out.println. So here first one is going to be id. This is going to be student id plus, so rs dot, so I'll be using some method, so later I can discuss that. So second one is going to be the name, so name equal to plus, that is going to be given by the result set. And next one is going to be my email id. So email equal to plus, this is also given by my result set. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, now this rs dot next will just move my result set to my first token. So rs will hold the first object. So from that first object I'm going to retrieve each and data. So this id is a type of, so what is this id type? Id is a type of, I hope you can see this. ID is a type of integer, and name is a type of varchar, and email is also type of varchar. Correct? So these are the three data types that we have used to create this database. The same we are going to use here. So first one, ID is a type of integer. So for that, what I'm doing is, so result set dot get. So we have a method called get integer, get int. Correct? So this int will have two parameters, either a string or a id. So string will always name the name of that column, the id name. Id is the name of that column, it takes the name of that column. Or index, I is going to be the index, which is going to be index the first column or second column or third column or fourth column, the index of that column. So right now I'm using the index. So index is going to be, so first column, that's going to be 1, that's going to be id. And similarly second one is a name. For that I'm going to have a string, get string, because that is a type of um, that is going to be a type of varchar. Varchar can be stored as a string. So here the index is going to be 2. And next one, see here I have two options. One is either I can give the name, or I can use my index of that column. So index I'm going to use it as 1 2 3. So rs dot get string of 3. So just try it out. Let's try it out whether we were able to connect to my query. So connect to my database. So the connection is already established, so we don't want to do anything. And then we have to create a statement. So to create a statement, this statement should be created against a connection. So connection dot create statement will help me to create a statement. So whatever the statement I'm going to execute through this statement. So here I have a query. The first query is going to be select star from student. So this is the query I'm going to execute. To execute it, I have three methods. One is going to be execute query, and execute update. So execute is a common method to execute both my query and the statement, and then update. So second one, execute query, is just to execute the query and to retrieve the results. And third one is execute update. Execute update is to do all the insert, delete, all my DDL operations can be done with execute update. So right now we are using a select statement, which is just to execute a query. So we are just using this execute query statement to execute this query. So once it is done, so this will give me the results in a result set. So this java.sql package has a collection frameworks more specific for this, which is called result set. The result set will store all the data generated by my query. So this query is going to be select star from student. Whatever the data is going to be generated by this select star from student will be stored in this result set. This result set will have all these data. Now from this result set, I can retrieve each and every data. So for the retrieving each and every data, I'm using a while loop to retrieve the data. So this is what we are doing here. So right now, once it is done, we can execute this. So now it will list all these things. So maybe you can see this ID1, name Arun, email as arun.a, arun@a.in. So ID number 2, name as Babu, email as babu@a.in. So ID3, name Charu, email charu@a.in. ID number 1, name Dinesh, email dinesh@a.in. So these are the data which we have inserted in my SQL, correct? So I hope everyone can able to do it. Yes. So if you're done, just give me a thumbs up or give me +1. +1. So if you're done, just give me a thumbs up or so done. So I can see only one person has given the response. What about others? Others, please do it. So this is just an introduction. So the next part is going to be we are going to segregate this into different classes. Then we are going to add it into my object and we are going to retrieve these results. So for that, we want these steps to be done first. Guys, those who are done up to this, please give a +1 comment. +1. And this do complete. So I'm just repeating the steps. First, we are creating a connection. To create a connection, we are using driver manager class. Driver manager dot get connection is the method which is used to create a connection. So first we are using driver manager to create a connection. To create my connection, we need 3 parameters. One is going to be first one is URL, second one is username, and third one is password. The URL will be having so the complete database link. So which database I'm going to connect. So second one is going to be username. To connect this URL, what is the credential I will be using? And for this username, what is the password is required to connect it? So these 3 are the important requirements to connect to any database. Even it is going to be a SQL database or no SQL database, whichever it may be, these are 3 parameters which are required. So once it is done, we are going to create a connection. So driver manager is a class which is going to give me a connection object. So this is the class which is going to create a connection by using a method called get connection. So get connection with the URL with the username and password. With these three credentials, it will create a connection, and that connection will be stored in the con is a variable name. So this URL may be valid if the system is on. If my system is on and the credentials are okay, now the connection will be created. Either the connection may be created or may not be created. If all the credentials are correct, the connection will be created. If the credential is wrong, the connection will not be created. So the connection may be created or may not be created. So that will throw an exception. So that is why, to handle that exception, we are putting all these things inside my try catch block. Correct? So first step, creating a connection. So once a connection has been created, second step, we are going to create a statement. So all the statements should be created against a connection. So because whatever the statement we are going to execute, that should be executed on a specific connection. So for that, I'm using this connection dot create statement to create a statement. So once the statement is created, we can execute any statement inside that statement. So for that, we have three methods, which is called execute or execute query or execute update. So these are the three methods we'll be normally using to do it. Whereas execute is a common method which can use both my execute query and execute update. But this execute statement will always return the boolean value, either the statement is executed or not. That is, either it's going to be true or false. That's what my execute will always return. Whether the statement is executed, if it is executed, that returns a true. If it is not, if it is not executed, that will return a false. So based on the statement, based on the query which we are going to execute, we are going to determine the execute method. So first one is going to be execute, second one is going to be execute query. So execute query is to just to execute my query, and it will return the results from my database. So whatever the constraints that I'm going to give, that will be added inside my query, and now that will execute my query and it returns my results. That results will be stored in my result set. So result set is a more specific collection framework which is located inside my SQL package to collect all these records from my execute query. Yes. So execute result set is a collection. It is also a collection framework which is more specifically created to collect all the results from my execute query statement. So this will collect all the statements and it will store it in my result set. Once it is there, now from my result set, I can take all the inputs, sorry, all the data which are given by the database, and I can print it. So that is what my result set is doing. So result set rs.next will just iterate through my all the objects in my result set, and right now I'm going to get all the things. So in my database, student database, I have student table. That student table has three parameters. First one is going to be integer, that is going to be id as an integer. Second one is name as my string, and third one email id as a string. So what we are going to do is we are going to retrieve three data. One is going to be id, that is a type of integer. So for that, I'm going to get an integer, and second one is a string, that is going to be a name, that is also string, and third one is a email, which is also a string. For that also, I'm going to use my get string, and for this getInt, I can give either the field name, that is going to be id is a column name, correct? I can give the column name or I can give the index. In both the ways I can do it. So right now I'm using my index to get these data. So I'm using 1 as my id, and 2 as my name, and 3 as my mail id. So it is collecting all these data and it's going to paste it. So that's how we got this output. Is it clear? So now, after executing this query, right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new query, which is going to insert query. Sir, what I'm going to do is, sir, we have an insert query, correct? So just I'm going to copy this insert query. So this is going to be my insert statement, correct? So I'm going to create a, so okay, already a query statement has been created. So right now what I'm going to do is, so query is going to be updated as, so insert into values. So here, okay, so here, okay, since I'm using double quotes inside my column, so I can also change it to a single quotes. That's why it has added my slash command to it. But since we are using inside my Java, either I can use my escape sequence like slash comma. This is also valid, so that also I can do, or else I can also use my single quotes. So this will also be fine. Using my single quotes also be fine. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to insert a data into my database. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this data as 5 and name as, so Darun. So Darun. Okay. So now this is to insert a data. So to insert a data in the sense it is going to do a update to my existing table, correct? So if I want to execute this query, I should use my execute update. Execute update. So for that, what I'm doing is statement dot execute execute update. So this execute update is going to execute my query. So execute update of my query. So now this execute update will insert a data. So right now you can see the output is going to be an integer which tells it whether this execute query has been updated or not. Either the statement is inserted it or not. That's what it's going to give. So if the statement is executed successfully, it returns a how many values or how many fields has been updated. That's the count it's going to return. Sir, if this query is not executed, now it will return as -1 or 0. So mostly it returns a -1, which indicates that this query has not successfully updated. Is it clear? So now execute update is will be used to execute. So once it is executed, now what I'm doing is I'm just going to give a system node out dot println data inserted. So now to check whether the data has been inserted, now I have to again copy this result statement and I have to execute the same query again. So for that, first I have to update my query statement. I have to update my query as select star from students, and then I have to execute my query. So this query I have to execute my query so that will get the results, and all the results will be stored. So here it will be, so /n after inserting. So this will give me, okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to insert query. To execute this insert, we need this execute update. To insert, update, or delete, we need this execute update. Execute update is the one which is going to execute or which is going to do my DDL operations. So once it is done, we are going to execute it. So as you can see this, before inserting, we don't have Darun's data. We don't have Darun's data here. So once it is inserted, I'm inserting it as data inserted. After inserting, we have this Arun, Babu, Charu, Dinesh, and Darun. Is it clear? We have this Darun data. We are also supposed to check whether this Darun is inserted inside my data. So just go for my SQL workbench and just select star from student. So this will give you whether Darun data is inserted or not. So right now you can see Darun data is successfully installed or inserted inside my MySQL also. So now my application is successfully able to communicate with my MySQL server. Is everyone is done? If everyone is done up to this, just give me +2. Just give me +2. +2. Done. What's there? Okay, others do respond. I can see only 2 to 3% are responding. So the reason why we have shared this YouTube link is for you to see in your system and to update it, so that it will be easy for you to replica this. Even if it's projected in your classrooms, you can able to see it. Correct? So try to implement it. This is very, very important. So this is a standard way. This is a normal Ant framework which we are doing right now. Correct? Sir, now what we are going to do is we are just going to change this application. So if you are done with this, what we are going to do is we are just going to close this application, and we are going to, okay, here I have missed one step. So we are done creating a connection, we are creating a statement, we are executing my queries, and the final step is going to be we have to close this connection. Correct? So to close this connection, we will be always be using this finalize, finally block. So this finally block is mainly used to close all my connections, even for my IO connections or my file connections or my any other connections. This finally block will be executed even if there is any exception has occurred. Any exception has occurred, that will be handled by this try catch block. Even the exception has occurred or not, this finally block will always be executed. Even exception occurs or if it is not occurred, this final block will always be executed. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to close that connection dot close. Since this connection object is created inside my, so that is the reason it was not able to do it. So here the statement, okay, so by default connection and statement will be null. So here connection dot close is a method. So before closing my connection, we have to close my statement. Okay, initially it will be initialized as null. Okay, so this will also throw an exception. So we have to handle it with proper exception handling. So inside my finally block, I should have this try catch block to handle these exceptions, because this close statement will also throw an exception because that connection may exist or may not exist. So we don't want to do anything about here. So just we have to close this connection, just statement and connection. So statement can also be closed. Sir, no sir, I don't want to close the statement. No sir, then you can directly close my connection because all the statements are internally connected with my connection. So if I was able to close my connection, then the complete statement will also be closed. So but this is very, very important. To close my connection, we'll be using this finally block. So finally blocks will always be executed even any exception occurred or not. Is it clear? Okay, sir. So now all the steps has been covered. So first registering a class. For that we have added our libraries. So then creating my connection is done, and creating a statement is done. Then executing my statement is done. Now we have closed my connection. So all the 5 steps has been done. Yes. Okay. So now, so this is this is a normal way where we have created everything in a single package. Correct? Everything inside a single package. Right now, what we are going to do is we are just going to do modularization. Modularization in the sense, for each task, the things is going to be taken care by separate classes. Yes, I hope you all know about this MVC framework, correct? You all know about MVC framework. What is this MVC framework? So MVC is nothing but model, view, and controller. So model, view, and control. This is a common name that we'll be using. So now this MVC has been changed to different formats, but this is a standard format. Mm, all the other concepts, all the other aspects that we are building right now will follow this MVC framework, because MVC, so before MVC we have different frameworks which has not given as a proper way to handle my application. Because since maybe you can see this in Google alone, we have different applications like Gmail, YouTube, documents, forms, and other things, and all these applications are able to interact with each other. So the same login can be used for all the applications, and the data from forms can be shared to Excel, and the data from forms can be shared to a document, and the data from Excel can be shared to an YouTube. Or all these applications are interrelating with each other, correct? And this was done by the MVC framework. That is, so whatever the aspects, whatever the things that I'm going to do in an application, that has to be structured, and that structure is handled by this MVC framework. Is it clear? So right now what we are going to do is we are just going to create an one more application. This is going to be an application too. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just going to close this connection, close this project. So I'll be uploading this project inside my GitHub repository. I'll be sharing that repository link with you so that you can take it. So right now I'm closing this closing this object, closing this project. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new project. So we are just going to create a new project with the MVC frameworks. So that's what we are going to do. Okay. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use my Ant application. Instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Maven build. So create a new application, create a new project. So this project, right now I'm not going to use my Ant application. Instead of my Ant application, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my Maven build. Sir, Maven build. So what is the advantage of Maven build? Sir, in my previous example, what we did, we had an application, a console based application, which is used to interact between a Java application and a MySQL server. For that, what is the language or what is the library that we added? We just added this JDBC MySQL connector. That is the only thing we have searched in a website, and we have downloaded it, and we have added to my application, correct? That is what we did in my previous application. But this Maven repository, this Maven project, what they did is, sir, you don't want to go and search these things. I will do it for you. Just you can tell me what are the things that are required for you to implement. That's what I'm going to do right now. Okay. Just what we're going to do is we're just going to create a Maven application, a Java application, then click on next. So here, similar to my previous example, first one is going to be my project name. So just I'm going to give it as a JDBC example 2. Example 2. So where this is going to be located. And group ID. Group ID is nothing but my, mostly this group ID is refers to my URL. So that is going to be the google.com or gmail.com or youtube.com. So that is my package name, correct? That is what my group ID. So right now I don't have any group ID. I'm just keeping as it is. So I'm going to keep it as it is. And the same package name, if I want to create a specific package, I can create it. So by default, my Maven framework itself create my example 2 package. If it is required, you can have it. If it is not required, you can delete it and you can create it. Is it clear? So mostly it will be like, okay, just I'm going to repeat that same again. So create a new project with Java Maven with Java application. So Grails is one of the framework. So it will also similar to my Maven. So before Maven, we have this Gradle framework. But right now Maven is a commonly used framework to create any application. So now what we are doing is we are just going to create an application with Maven. So Maven Java application. Now I'm going to give it the name of my project. So once I click on next, it will ask me JDBC example 2. So with this, the location of my project, and then it will ask my group id is nothing but my company name or my project name, the entire application web apps name. That's going to be the url. So right now we don't have any specific name, so I'm not going to give any name for it, so I'm keeping as it is. Similarly, this is going to be the package name, which is going to have my main class. This will automatically created. So in the last section, and the main class has been automatically created, but here the main class will be created inside this package. So we don't want to do anything, just keep it as it is. Company name, so this is going to be the artifact id, uh, company name. The group id will be there, and second one followed by the project name, that is going to be jdbc.example2. That is a project name. So this package is going to be just the folder inside my project structure. So just click on finish. So once you finished it, you will automatically have these things. So you will be having, so last time in ant build we have only two things. One is source package, another one is library package, correct? But in maven build we have a lot of things over here. So we have a project files, we have java dependencies, we have dependencies. Other than that, if I have any other dependencies to be added, that will be added here. And my source package, the source package is where my actual main class is located. So the main class is automatically located in this com.my company.jdbc.example2 a package, where it automatically created my main class. So this will be acting as my main class. Okay, sir. So here we have this pom.xml. Sir, just go through this project file. So this pom.xml, this is the one who is going to make a lot more easier functions. So here you can see this. What is the model version that I'm using? So right now I'm using 4.0.0. So this is the model version of this pom.xml. And right now we have this group ID. Group ID is nothing but, so the things that we have created. So right now we have created a project. That project's properties are here. I hope you can see this, correct? So you can see this. The group ID is nothing but the company name which you have created, and the artifact ID is nothing but my project name, that is my JDBC example 2, and what type of version I'm going to use. This is the first version we are creating. So if I am going for any updates, for each update, we can create that version name. And what is the packaging that I'm going to use? I'm going to use my jar package, correct? When this application is developed and I'm going to implement it, that I'll be converting into my jar application. Okay, sir. Now after that, you can see here what is the compiler I'm going to use, correct? So I'm going to use a Java compiler, which is going to be a version of 18. So that is what I'm using here. So this version is 18. It's already added. Sir, no, sir. I want to change my Java version, sir. I want it to be 20 or 21. Just change it. Just change the source to 19 or 20. That's it. It will automatically add it. So right now my system has only JDK 18, so I'm having it. So no, sir. For compilation, I'm going to use my Java version 8, and for execution, I'm going to use a Java version of 21. That is also done here. That is why we have two different things. One is source, that is for compiler. Another one is target, which is for execution. So right now I'm not going to do any changes for this. Just this, because this is already pre-built. I'm not going to do any changes for it. Sir, with this project, what is the thing that I'm going to add? I'm just going to add one JDBC repository, correct? JDBC MySQL driver, correct? For that, see here, we have a Maven repository. We have a Maven repository. Just go for your Google. Just type Maven repository. So that will give a mavenrepository.com. Mavenrepository.com. Just open that Maven repository. You can see lot of Maven repositories is already available for you to use. So all these repositories, all these things are available there for our usage, for based on my application. Sir, if I want to connect with an AWS Bedrock, then I can use this plugin, Zio AWS Bedrock, that is there. So similarly, if I want to connect with the Huawei Cloud, now I have this Huawei Cloud package. Now, if I want to use my Git with Eclipse, now I can also use that GitHub with Eclipse. That also I can do it. So now what we are going to do is we are going to just have my MySQL JDBC connector, correct? Sir, JDBC MySQL connector. Just go for search and type JDBC MySQL. Now it will give me all the SQL connectors which are used for JDBC connections. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so now, sir, not only for SQL, MySQL, sir, we have also Oracle. So JDBC Oracle. Now, JDBC, so you can see this JDBC Oracle is there, JDBC MS SQL is there. So whatever the things that I want, I can add it here. So for Postgres, it is there. For MS SQL, Microsoft JDBC driver for SQL Server is there, correct? So whatever the things that I want, I can have it. So here, what I want is MySQL, just JDBC MySQL connector. Just click on it. It will take you what are the versions are there. So right now we are using Java 9, sorry, JDBC connector 9.4.0. That is what we have downloaded and we have added. So you can also see what are the other versions are there and when was the date it has been given or when is the latest update it was given. So you can see this. You can see this, correct? Okay. So now right now we are using this 9.4. Okay. So here you can see here who's the provider. Who is the provider? Organization is going to be Oracle is our provider. So where is this home page is located? Just this is the home page it is located. And for files we have this PALM file, jar file, and also we have a lot other types of files are there. We don't want that. We don't want that. Just for your information, I'm telling this. And in bottom you can see here you have a Maven framework, we have a Gradle, we have SBT, we have Mill, we have Ivy, we have a Grave, we have builders. We have a lot of types of builders are there. So right now we are using Maven builder, correct? For adding this package, this MySQL connector to my package, I don't want to download it, I don't want to do it. I have to just copy this dependencies. I just want to copy this dependencies and in my folder, in my pom.xml, after this properties, I'm going to open a tag called dependencies. Dependencies. So this dependencies will have what are the dependencies that are required for my application to execute. That will be added here. So now I'm just copy pasting that dependency. So the dependency for my MySQL connector. This the group ID which is com.mysql, artifact ID is MySQL. So this is going to be similar to my project structure. I hope you can see this. the same group ID. So that group is going to be given by com.mysql, and artifact ID is nothing but the project name. The project name is MySQL connector Java, and the version which I'm going to use is here right now. Our version is 1.1, but the version which we are using from Java MySQL connector is 9.4.0. That's it. This is a dependency which is required for me to execute my application. That's it. So once it is done, save this pom.xml, save it. So now you can see here in bottom, you can see here my repository is getting updated. You can see here. So it is actually connecting with my all the packages, and it is connecting with different packages repositories, and it is going to collect my repositories, and it will be added to my package. So fine. No. Just it will run in the bottom. Yes, it will take time. So if I want to use my Maven repository without internet, we cannot do it, because whenever I'm adding any dependencies to my pom.xml, it will go and check for my availability in my Maven repository. From there, it is going to retrieve the package, and that package will be added to my dependencies. So now you can see here in my dependencies, MySQL connector jar has been added. We have not downloaded it. We have not added it. It was directly added by my framework, my Maven framework. Maven framework has directly added it. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? We have not downloaded this MySQL connector. We have not downloaded and we have not added to my libraries. This was automatically done by my Maven framework by using this just simple code. Similarly, whatever the codes that I want, I can add it. Sir, I don't want my Java 9.4.0. If I want 9.3.0, just change the version. It will automatically add it. That's it. Okay, so now the step has been done. So now we have my Java version, we have my dependencies added. So now we can start our package. So now what we are going to do is, sir, we are going to segregate all these things. Sir, what I'm going to do is we are going to segregate these things. So one is going to be first one, model. Model in the sense it is going to be a data control. So all the database related controlled queries are going to be done in my model package. And view is nothing but my the data which are going to be shown to the user, or which is going to be a front end application where I'll be using this view. And last one is going to be controller, which is going to control where my execution is going to have, from where I'm going to get the data, from where I'm going to retrieve the data, from where to whom I'm going to show the data. All these things are going to be controlled by this controller. That's what my model, view, and control. So here in our console based application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it as three things. One is called Pojo. Pojo is nothing but plain old Java object class. Pojo class. So normally they'll be calling it as a plain old Java object class. So in our example, we are using student, correct? So student will be a plain old Java object class. And second one is going to be data control layer. So data control layer, which is going to be called as DAO class, which will have all the database related queries will be handled only in DAO. And BO class is the one which will handle my business logics. Okay, so DAO in a sense data access objects. Data access objects in the sense it is going to be, this is the one who's going to execute all the database queries. So all the database related queries are going to be added only in my DAO class, and all the business logics are going to be added only inside my BO class, and all the plain will be in my Pojo class, correct? So these are the three things that I'm going to create. So what I'm going to do is, just in my package, I'm going to create one more package, a new package, which is called, which is going to be called as so I'm going to give the same com dot my company dot JDBC dot student. So instead of having example 2, I'm going to create as a student. So com dot my company dot JDBC dot student is just a package. In that package, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my classes. So first class is going to be my Pojo class, which is called student class. So student. So this student class is going to have all my variables, which is going to be a private int id. So private string name, and then private string email. So these are the three parameters that I use to create for student database. So based on that, I'm going to create my constructors. So the constructors, so here I have a insert code method which is going to use my constructor. So first I'm going to create a empty constructor as a default constructor. Then after that I'm going to create a constructor which is going to be uh, ID's name and email. So generate with the parameterized constructor. Then with that I'm also going to have my getters and setters. So for all the email ID and name, I'm going to create my getters and setters. And then if I want, I can also use my equals and hash code method. Equals and hash code method can also be added. So all these predefined classes only will be there in my student class. So this is called plain old Java object class. So from Java 14, this Pojo class has been replaced with record class. So this Pojo class has been replaced with record class. So we don't want to have this, we don't want to create this constructor, we don't want to create this getters and setters, we don't want to do all these things, because that will always done by my record class. So how to create a record? So instead of using class, I can use my record. Okay, just I'll be creating another class, so that will be useful for you. So just a Java class. So I'll be using record. Java record. So this I'll be keeping it as a student. Okay, student.java is already exists, so I'm going to give it as a student new. Okay, instead of class, I'll be having it as a record. Correct? So instead of public class student, I'll be having it as a public record student. So here in this parameter, I'll be giving all these parameters, which is going to be name, ID, and then email ID. So here I'll be having it as integer ID, and then string name, and then string email. So that's it. Now this student new will automatically create all the constructors, getter setters, everything will be automatically created. We don't want to do anything. So this student new class, this is also a class. This is also a class, but instead of creating it as a class, we'll be creating it as a record. This record will automatically create my getters and setters. Everything will be done by this class. We don't want to do like this normal constructor, a parameterized constructor, a getter, a setter. We don't want to do that. Everything will be automatically done by my JVM itself. Is it clear? So once this class is done, now I'm going to create my DAO class. So this is going to be a student DAO class where all my data access objects is going to be done. So this student DAO class will have all the interactions. So all the interactions between my database. So if I'm going to have a database, then I need a connection class. Correct? So because all the database interaction should have a separate connection class. So for that, I'm going to create one more class which is called my connection class. Connection. I'm naming it as a connection class itself. So this connection class is the one which is going to interact with my database, and it is going to give me connection. So this connection class will have public static connection. connection. So here I'll be having get connection. So get connection is a method which is going to create my connection. It is going to just give me a connection. So this connection is inside my import java.sql dot. I'm going to give it as a star so that I can use all the classes inside my SQL package. So here this is going to create a connection. So for this, okay. So in previous example, we have seen try, catch, and finally, which tells that try is to try a statement which may throw an exception, correct? And then if any exception has occurred, we'll be having a catch statement to handle that exception, and then we'll be having a finally block which is used to close my connections, correct? So that is what my try catch and finally block. So right now what we are going to do is we are going to use try with resource, because if I want to sir, many all the users may not be closing that connection. They might have forgot to close that connection. So that is why Java has introduced a concept called try with resource concept. So this what is the advantage of using this try with resource concept is it will just automatically close that connection once the statement has been executed, correct? So once this statement has been executed, the connection will automatically close. So here connection. So here I'm going to create a connection with this connection equal to driver manager, the same statement, driver manager dot get connection. So get connection with properties, correct? So right now we have to initialize this URL, so which is going to be a string URL. So URL is going to be the connection JDBC connection. This JDBC connection is going to connect with my MySQL. This MySQL is going to connect with my localhost colon 3306 slash. In that I'm going to use my database. The database name is going to be student details. I have misspelled it, so I'm just copying the name. I have misspelled the database name, so I'm copying it. So just the student data details. So this is going to be a URL. Now string username. So string username. So this username is going to be root, and then string password. So this password is going to be root at 123. So this is called try with resource. So this will try with this resource connection. If the connection is established, then it will execute the statement within this. If not, it will just throw to catch. And once it is done, this try block itself will close that connection. We don't want to explicitly have a finally block to close it. We don't want to do that. The try block will automatically do this all these operations. So exception E. So E dot print stack trace. Okay, sir. Now, when I try to execute this try block will try to create my connection. Once it is connected, now I can able to use that connection to create my statement. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to return my connection. That's it. So we can just return my connection. That's it. So to use this, okay, try with resource must either be a variable declared or expressed, denoting a reference to a final or effective final variable. Okay, so I was not able to do like this. So instead of using here, I can use it here. I can just going to return the statement here itself. So return connection, else return null. Okay. So if my connection has been created, that connection will be returned. If my connection is not created, that will return a null. So this is a try with resource block. This will try to create my connection. If that connection is created, now it will return a connection. If the connection is not created, now it will return a null statement. Okay, sir. So now this connection class will create my connection and return my connection, correct? So anyhow, that is going to handle my exception. So okay, sir. Fine. Right now I'm going to my DAO class. So inside my DAO class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have different methods for doing operations. So first one is going to be select the query and to display all the records. Second one is going to be insert. Third one is going to be delete. Fourth one is going to be update. So all these things can be done by this. Is it clear? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have separate method for each operations. First one, so here this is going to be a public result set. So result set. Either I can use my result set or I can use my own collection set. My own collections like list of users. This is also done. List of students. So list of students new. So this one is going to be get all students. So this student method will just execute a query. This is just going to execute a query and it's going to get all the students from my database and it's going to return my list. That's it. That's what this student list is going to do. So for that, I need this list of students. Student new. So student list equal to. So I'm just going to create as an array list. That's it. So now what I'm going to do is, so this list is from util package. So we can add that util package. Similarly, array list is also from util package. So that also we can add it. So I hope you can see this java.sql result set is added, java.util.arraylist is added, java.util.list is added. Similarly, if I want to create a connection, I want this connection class to be there. So for that, so since it is in the same package, it's not needed because it is a public package. So I don't want to do it. So here I'm going to use try connection. So connection is from util package. So connection equal to, I'm going to use connection class dot get connection. So I don't want to do anything. It will be done by my connection class. So catch exception e stack trace. So I'm not going to give any username, password in this DAO class because all these things are done by my connection class. So connection class is going to do all the things and it's just going to give me connection. So based on this connection, I can create my statement, correct? So for that, next step is going to create a statement. So that statement will also throw an exception. So for that, try statement. So statement. So this statement is going to be created against a connection dot create statement. So this will create my statement and if any exception occurs, that will be handled by my catch exception E. So this is a try with resource block which is used to close my connection, close my statement automatically. It will not ask user to explicitly create a finally block to close it. Is it clear? Okay, sir. So now what I'm going to do here is, so return my student list. That's it. Okay, sir. So now connection has been created, statement has been created. Now I can execute my query. So for that, I'm going to create a query statement. So string query. So query equal to select star from student. So this is what I'm doing here. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to select all the students and I'm going to store it in my result set. From result set, I'm going to add all the data to my linked list. Then I'm going to return my list here. So this query to be executed. So this query has to be executed. For that, I'm using my statement. So statement dot execute query. So this query will execute and it will return a result set. So that I'll be storing in a result set. So result set rs equal to statement dot execute query of query. So now once it is done, now result set has all these data. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking all these result set data and I'm going to convert into a new student object and I'm going to add it inside my list. So that's what I'm going to do now. So while rs dot next, now what I'm doing is I'm just going to create a student object. So student new s equal to, so new student new of. So here I can add the parameters. See, we have not defined any parameterized constructor, correct? In student new class, we have never defined any parameterized constructor, but it was automatically created. I hope you can see this. Student new of integer name and email. This was automatically created by my system. So that is the advantage of my record class. So here, first one, result set dot get integer. The same thing I'm using here. Get int of 1. Second one, result set dot get string of 2. That is going to be the name. Third one, result set dot get string of result set. That's going to be 3 email ID. So this is what this will automatically create a student object. So we don't want to do anything, just it will automatically create a student object. Once a student object is created, now what we are doing is we are just going to add this student into my list. So student list dot add of student. That's it. Once it is done, now I'll be sending this to my whoever is going to call. So whoever is going to call this method, get all student details, will get all these details in a list format, correct? So this is what my DAO class. So if I want to do any business logics, then I can use it in my business object class. Okay, sir. Now what I can do is in my main class, what I'm going to do is, sir, in my main class, what I'm going to do is just I'm going to list all the students, sir, and all the students are inside my JDBC.student, correct? So here I have to create an object for my student DAO. So student DAO is the class which have all these methods, correct? So here student DAO, yes, DAO equal to, so new. So this student DAO is inside my company.student. So I have to import that package. So import that package. Now new student DAO object. So by default, the default constructor will be created. student. Sorry, I have misspelled it. Okay, sir. Once it is done, okay, once it is done, now I can call that method. So list of students new student list equal to yes DAO dot get all students. This will give me all the students. So I don't want to do anything, just everything will be taken care by this. So list is inside my util package. So I have to import my util. Now this student new is also inside my import com.student. Here I can, instead of using this as I can use it as a common, so that all the classes will be imported automatically. Okay, sir. Now everything I have. Now I can display all these things, correct? So student list dot for each dot for each student we are going to run off student. That's it. Okay, sir. So now what we did is we have created a Maven based application. In that pom.xml we have added the packages. Then for that we have created a student class and a BO class and DAO class. And now in my main class I have added I have a method called get all students, which is going to connect with my database and is going to retrieve all these things. So let's check whether it is working fine or not. Okay, see here I have given I have typed it wrongly. MySQL, MySQL, I have given a wrong name. So I have to change, go for my connection class. And here I have to give a proper name, MySQL. That's it. So now after this, go for this. And execute it. Okay, no operations allowed after SQL close statement. So where it is, so example 2 in student DAO line number 15. Okay. Okay. Since I'm closing this connection here, this statement is not actually getting. So what we can do is we can add this in the same package. So I don't want this. This also not needed. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me check once again. So it is telling me that the connection is closed. So this get all connections is actually getting my connection. So here am I closing this connection? Okay, so maybe if that is the case, see, since this is done, it's actually closing my connection. So that is why I'm just going to replace it with normal try catch block. So here I'm just going to get it as a connection, and I'm not going to close that connection. Okay, well, because it is actually closing my connection. So that is the reason my system cannot able to access these data. I hope that is the reason why we are using it. So once the connection is closed, it cannot be able to do any other operation. So right now we can see this. the student new object. So ID as one, name as Arun, and everything is stored in a student new object, and all the data has been displayed. Correct. So this is called modularization or packaging. So this is what we did right now. The same thing which we did in my previous example, the same thing right now I did it. But instead of using my Ant framework, I have used my Maven Gradle framework to do it. So that is an advantage of organizing things. So whenever I encounter an error, I can directly go to that specific class and I can correct my error. That is what my framework will do. Correct? Okay, sir. Just I just want to give an introduction about these things. Just try this out. Try this out. So after this, we have a batch operation. So this is just for creating a connection, creating a statement, executing a query, and executing an update. So after this, we have a batch processing. Batch processing is also there, so that also we can see. Uh, but before that, I want you to give an introduction about these things. So right now, this JDBC MySQL connectivity is done. Now we can go for this J2EE frameworks and other frameworks. Okay. So first, sir, what does it mean by framework, sir? So I'm just going to stop sharing and I'm going to share my notepad. Okay. So what is mean by framework? Anyone? Guys, are you there? Can you able to follow me? Just post it in the chat. Flow of an application. Good. Flow of an application. Sir, right now I have mentioned there's an MVC framework. Is a reusable structure for code. Yes, good. Sir, the MVC framework is one way of interacting with my database and the users. Correct. MVC is one framework. We have lot other frameworks in this way. Correct, sir. For all these things, what we are actually doing is we are actually creating lot of classes. Maybe for now we have seen it. We have created a Pojo class, which is called a plain old Java object class, and then we have created a DAO class for doing all my database related access queries, and we have a BO class which is actually used to create my business logics. So maybe for discounts, for if I want to create a bus booking app, in that I'm going to have a discounts for all the users who are all going to be senior citizens, or for the babies, or for the childs who are less than 5 years old, we are going to give a discount for it. So this is a business logic. So we have a user data. Based on the user data, we are going to give some discounts. That is called business logic. That is going to be done by BO classes. So now these are the things are going to determine what are the things that I'm going to do in my application. Similarly, there are a lot of things are there. So for each thing we have to create it separately and we have to manually do it. Sir, why do I want to do it, sir? That's a lot of works to do, sir. Correct, sir. So Java developers, what they did is they created certain frameworks to auto process it, to automatically do these things. So one such was that record class. One such was my record class, which will automatically create a constructors, which will automatically create my getters, setters, and equals method, and hash code method. Everything will be automatically created. So that was automated by my Java developers. Correct. Similarly, sir, in my application, right now we are dealing only with my console based application. Correct, sir. If I want my application, if my I want my Java application to interact with the user, I need a view part. Correct. So that view part is going to be either a system based or a web based. Correct, a web based. Right now we are interacting only with my console based application. Right, in a terminal we are just we are executing a process, and it is going to give me a results, and we are going to give an interaction between it. Correct. So now this view is either going to be a system based or my web based. Correct. For system based application, first initially, not only in Java, for all the languages there was a generalized package called AWT, which is called applet window toolkit which is used to create my Windows based application. So after this AWT was a generic framework or generic package which was used to interact, which is used to create a forms, which was used to create a window. So right now I'm using a notepad window. So this was built on a Windows based application. This was using, so right now we have a MySQL workbench, we have an Excel, we have a NetBeans. All these things, all the applications which are running in my system or Windows based application, that was either built with AWT or with the Spring, or if it is a Python, they'll be using something called PyTorch, I think so, I forgot it. I forgot that name, package name, that they have a system package. So initially they use this the AWT kit, which is a legacy, which is a common generic framework which is used to create a system-based application. So after this, after AWT, Java, what they did is they created their own application, their own framework to build a system-based application. That is called Spring application. So Spring will internally use my AWT methods, but it made lot of things automated, or lot of things as auto created. So Java framework will automatically create all these things, so that we don't want to create these things. That was my Spring application, and Spring was mainly used for Windows based application or my system based application. But if the same application want to interact with my web app or with my mobile app, that Spring application doesn't have any privilege to do that. To do that, Java has introduced a next framework called Java FX. So that is what our fifth unit, where we'll be learning what is Java FX. It is a cross-platform application builder. Cross-platform in the sense, by using Java FX, I can able to build a front end, or I can build a view with a for a system-based app, for a web-based app, for a mobile-based app, for anything I can create it. That is what my Java FX. Is it clear? So till Java 1.8, Java FX is also a part of Java, was also a part of JDK. But after Java 1.8, this Java FX was completely driven by open source community. It's a completely driven by open source community that was not part of my Oracle JDK. Oracle JDK is not going to have this Java FX plugin. So if I want to use Java FX, I have to add it. Similarly, this is for system-based applications. This is for system-based application. Similarly, for web-based apps. So for web app, they have a framework called J2EE, which is called Java Enterprise Edition. So this Java Enterprise Edition have two major things. One is this J2EE have first one as servlet. So this servlet, so as a web app, we normally have two things. One is going to be called request. So whatever the thing that we are going to type in my URL is called request, and for that request we'll be having a response. Correct. For example, we have searched for MySQL JDBC connector. Correct. MySQL JDBC connector, that is a request which was given by user. For that, my web browser has given a response called this MySQL JDBC connector at this location. That is a response. Correct. For everything we'll be dealing with a request and a response. This request and response should be handled by the various methods. So the various methods are called get method or post method, or I can also do both, with a common method which is called as a method name. So this servlet is a package which handles all these get and post methods, all these get and post in Java way, in Java coding, that is what my servlet. So how we are creating a class, similarly I'll be creating a servlet class, and with that servlet class I'll be having a request and response. That request and response will be taken care by get and post method. So everything will be taken care by servlet. So all these things are done by servlet framework. And after that we have one more package called JSP. So this JSP, sir, whatever the things I'm going to give, the end result, the end view is going to be a HTML. So why don't we use my HTML as my package? So for that, this JSP package is also created, which is also mainly used to handle all my get and post methods. And here all these things are going to be given by my HTML coding. Maybe you have seen an ADD subject. In ADD you might have seen this HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So all the Java codes are typed as a HTML format is called JSP. Correct. But what happened is in servlets and JSP, all these things, servlets and JSP, or comes under my J2W framework. So this J2W framework have the servlets and JSPs. But if my application want to interact with my JDBC, again I have to come to my JDBC plugin. So JDBC ODBC connector, I have to connect my JDBC driver, and then I have to do all this process. Correct. Similarly, that goes for my JSP also. So JDBC is done by my JDBC connection. So they thought of reducing these things. So why don't we have another framework which can reduce all these steps by a single application can able to interact with my front end and also with the back end. So that is where they started with the Spring framework. So that's where my Spring framework comes into existence. This Spring framework is a large package. Which handles, this Spring framework can handle a web based as an enterprise edition, Java enterprise edition, or it can able to handle mobile edition, or it can able to handle micro edition. So this Spring framework will help us to create an application which can support in enterprise edition, which can also support in a mobile edition, which can also support in a micro edition. So whatever the framework, whatever package that we needed, everything is added inside my Spring framework. And for database connectivity, so whatever the things, the operations that we have to do, for that they created a package called, or framework called Hibernate, which will actually reduce these steps. The DAO class and save object, retrieve object, all these things are done easily through my Hibernate package. So the main usage of Hibernate package is to reduce the connection between Java application and my SQL. That SQL may be anything. It may be NoSQL, it may be MySQL, it may be MS SQL, or whatever it may be. In Hibernate, what they'll be doing is, sir, instead of inserting a new record inside my table, just what they'll doing is just the student object, student object dot save. This will automatically insert my data inside my database. We don't want to create an insert query. We don't want to do all these things. Just create my connection to my database. That will also be done by my POM file. My POM file have the privilege to properties file have the privilege to add all the connection details. Once the connection detail is done, now I have the privilege of saving an object. Once I click on that save, this will automatically save my ID, name, and email ID to my object. That is done by my Hibernate package. So Spring Framework have a vast package. With that, we have this Hibernate package. So for my easy interaction with my JDBC. Is it clear? So this is the commonly used frameworks in Java for any application building. But the problem is this is a large package. So when we try to, sir, maybe I can show you this. Maybe I can show you this. Just I'll be stop sharing and I'll be show you this. So I'll be sharing my screen again. Share Windows entire screen. Okay. So just go for here and Spring. Okay, so this is official website. This is spring.io is an official website which is actually used to have all the libraries. Similarly, our Java doc, Java API. So this Spring framework is there, which will have all these packages. So what can Spring can do? You can see here, all these are my Spring frameworks. If I want to create a generative AI application, I have a separate packages for it. Just click on this, it will redirect to what are the packages are there. So what are the things, how to use it, everything will be there. So this is the complete architecture, how it will interact with me. So similarly I have microservices, I have React natives. So for React based applications, for cloud based applications, for web apps, for serverless, for event driven, for batches, for all these things we have a framework. We don't want to do any configurations. We don't want to do any configurations as we did in my JDBC application. We have given the username, we have given the password, we have given the URL, we have created a connection, we have created a statement. All these things we do not do it. It will automatically done by the frameworks. So see here, these are the projects. So these are my Spring projects. So these are the projects that are right now available in my Spring. Right now it is available in my Spring. This is a live project that I can see. So you can see here, these are the projects are there. And if you go for this, if I want to create a web application, then I should have all these Spring frameworks, this web frameworks. So web services will have all these things. You can see here, he is listing all the things that are related to my web services. So all the things that are related for XML formats, for all these things are there. We can just go and add this framework. So this is what we have to do. So if I want to create an application, I have to go and search for all these things. If I want to create a chat application, I can go for if I want to use a Docker based application, then I can go for Docker based APIs. So if I want to use a query system like Kafka, now I can use this Kafka application, Spring for Kafka. This will have all the packages. This will have all the packages that are listed or that are detailed, that are needed for this Kafka applications. So all these are listed here. So, sir, how can I do this, sir? How can I go and take all these frameworks? How can I add it here? So I don't know what other things are there, and I don't know how to add it over there. I don't know these things. Correct? To reduce this process, they introduced a new concept called Spring Boot. So that is where, sir, this Spring framework have vast applications, have vast large models to to select select what are the things I require. So for example, if I want a web based application, I can select my web services. If I want a mobile based application, I can add my mobile based application. If I want to have an interaction with my JDBC, then I can create my JDBC. So that was given by this Spring Boot framework. This is a lightweight, but internally what it do is it is actually taking the frameworks from my Spring framework. So all these are comes under my web framework. So all the frameworks are mainly used to reduce the developers time and easily do all my configurations. We don't want to do all these configurations manually. It will be directly done by my Java application itself. So that is where the system based application and web based application comes in, and all these things are comes under my view concept. Is it clear? So just for your example, I can just show you how a Spring framework will create. So for example, we have a website called Spring Initializer. Spring Initializer. So this initializer framework will ask you what type of project I'm going to create. So for example, here I'm going to create a Java application. So here I'm going to create a Java application. Which project type I'm going to use? I'm going to use a Maven type. And what is the Spring Boot version I'm going to use? So right now I'm using the same 3.5.6, and the other things are going to be same as my Maven project. You can see the group, the company name, and the artifact. Artifact is nothing but my project name. The project name, whatever the project name I'm going to give, that is going to be the artifact ID. The same thing, and the description about my project. So here I can give it as a test. Test. So mostly keep the name and artifact ID as it is as same. So test one, test one. So the package name will be created based on my group name and the artifact ID. So this is what we have created in my Maven. And what is the packaging version I'm going to use? That's going to be a jar package. And what is the type of Java version I'm going to use? Either 17, 21, or 25. Whatever the version I want, I can select it. And the dependencies. I hope you can see these dependencies. So what are the dependencies I'm going to add? Just click on it. Right now we are going to create a web app. So Spring web app. So web related, so we can have web and then web services. So just click on web. We have this Spring web services. So all these things will be added. Sir, I want to add my JDBC MySQL, sir. So JDBC MySQL. Just it will give all the JDBC MySQL driver. It will automatically add it. We don't have to do it. Just what are the dependencies that we want, we can just click it. So we have a Hibernate version, that is going to be Hibernate. That is going to be Spring JPA. Okay, this will add my data interaction with my database. That is my Spring JPA. And if I want Jakarta, that is also be a part of JPA. So this is for all these things. You'll be learning what are these things. What is by web services? What is by JPA? How to use it? Everything will be shown you during the time of Java project lead, which is going to happen from 13 to 16. Okay, fine. So let's complete this. So what I'm going to do is just I'm going to generate. So these are the dependencies I want. I want to create a web app, and I'm going to using web services, and I'm going to use my MySQL driver, and also I'm going to use my Hibernate package. So that is a JPA. That is Java project for data Java project app. That is what I'm using. So just generate. So this will generate a zip folder. This will generate a zip folder. Just I'm going to store it in my projects. Okay, I'm just going to create a folder called project. Inside that project, I'll be storing this test one. So now I'm just opening the test one folder. Now I'm going to extract it. So this will give me a project folder. So now when you go for here, you'll be having this all this pom.xml and the source file and this main file. What are the things that are needed? So now I can open this. I can open this from any IDE. I can open this from Visual Studio Code. I can open this from any IDEs. Just open file, open a project. So just go for the project location where the project is located. Just go for here, documents. In my documents, I have SEC folder. In SEC 2016 in odd semester, Java projects test one. Just select it and open the project. That's it. It will start to load. So right now it is unloadable. So later it will automatically load it. It will just load all the resources. What are things that are required? That will automatically add it. Right now the dependencies is not there. So you can check with this pom.xml. You can see what are things that we have given there. It is there. So it is going to be a Spring Boot framework. It is a type of pom.xml. The name is going to be test, and it is a demo project. And the packages, dependencies. last time we have added this dependency, but now all these dependencies are added by the system itself, which will create all the web frameworks and all the Spring Boot frameworks and the Jakarta frameworks and the database frameworks. All these things are added here. You can see here. All these things are automatically added. We don't want to do anything. We just want to configure it. That's it. Which will automatically load all these things. So once I click on clean and build, it will start to load all these things. You can see here all these packages are downloading, all these progress. This will show the downloads. What are the packages, what are the dependencies that we have added will be loaded here. Okay, there are some failures. Maybe I have missed some, have misspelled it, or might be I have misspelled it. But you can see here all the dependencies which are required for a Spring based application has been loaded here. You can see here this dependency initially that doesn't have anything. This test one project in dependencies initially it doesn't have anything, but now it has all these things. It has this Hibernate package, it has a Spring Boot package, it has this Jakarta package, it has all the log4j package, and it has Spring Boot frameworks. You can see here, correct? All these are done by itself. We have not downloaded anything, we have not added anything to my project. It was done by my Maven package. Is it clear? So this is the advantage of using a framework. So it will automatically do all these things. We can just use it. That's fine. That's it. So even you can see MySQL will be there. I don't know where it is that, because we have also added that JDBC MySQL. See here, MySQL connector is added. Runtime dependencies, it have added MySQL connector because we have added there, correct? All these things are added here. Yes, is it clear? So this is the advantage of using frameworks, and we are going to learn about this Spring Boot framework. In this Spring Boot framework, we are going to learn about the Spring Boot framework for creating a web-based application. Later, we'll be seeing about this JavaFX for system-based application. So this Spring Boot application, for this, we are just going to have few things. Guys, listen, this is very important. So the date is going to be from 13 to 16 half day, and the things that we are going to do is we are just going to have a Spring Boot application. We are just going to build a Spring Boot application. For that, what are the things are required? Prerequisites are first one, Java. So install Java 21 plus or minimum 14 plus. Minimum 14 plus is required, but 21 plus is fine. And second one is we'll be needing MySQL. Sorry, we'll be using PostgreSQL, not MySQL. PostgreSQL. So this should be installed. So this PostgreSQL is more similar to my MySQL, but the only thing is this PostgreSQL can support both SQL and NoSQL. That is the difference. So normal SQL query will be implemented in PostgreSQL. So I want you guys to install this PostgreSQL in your system, and I hope these are the two major things, and the IDE. So for standardizing things, we are going to use IntelliJ IDE. So for this IntelliJ, use your official college ID, which will give you professional license. Official college ID, which will give you professional package, for 4 years license. You will get IntelliJ. If you sign up with the official mail ID, you will get a professional package for IDEA. So this should be installed in your system. Make sure you are installing all these things in your system before 13th. That is by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. If you want any help in this, you can always approach us. will be there. All Java DBMS faculty will be there to help you. You can approach your Java faculty or DBMS faculty. They'll be helping you to correct any errors if you encounter any errors in installing these things. Right, these three things should be added in your system, because all the experts are going to use the same setup. We have requested all the experts to use the same IntelliJ and PostgreSQL and Java for creating an application. They will help you to create an application. So first day, in day one, they'll be giving you a concept on LLD, that is going to be on how you are going to create classes, and how you are going to create a relationship between two classes. All these things will be done in day one. So LLD plus Spring Boot introduction. And day two you will be creating a CRUD application with database with database with database. And third day you'll be learning one more framework. On day 3 you'll be learning about theme leaf. So theme leaf is one of the framework which is used to create a standard HTML template forms, which will be used to create a web app. So theme leaf plus CRUD application plus CRUD. So plus CRUD is nothing but, so create, read, update and delete. And in day 4 we'll be having JUnit, which is nothing but my unit test case, unit testing. So all these things will be covered in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. If you want to have these things, you should have all these things should be installed in your system before. So make sure you're installing it. So I hope I have covered all these things. So I have given an introduction about SQL, JDBC connectivity, and then an introduction about frameworks and what are the frameworks available in Java, and what is the framework that we are going to use. And for Java Spring Boot, sorry, for Project Leap, what are the prerequisites are done. Yes. So if you have any queries, you can always approach us. We'll be there to help you. And this recording will always be there in YouTube. If you want to revisit and you can see it, you can also revisit and you can see it. So thank you all. Thank you for your patience. So if you have any feedbacks, please post the feedback to the faculties in your classes. Just you can write a paper or you can just post the feedback to your faculties. We will collect the feedback from them. Thank you all. Happy learning. Thank you.